That was the hardest puzzle I've done in my life.
You're so smart.
Thank you.
You should get your PhD.
You know, a funny thing happened on Twitter.com yesterday.
I saw that.
A
That was
funny.
awesome.
Let me tell this story here, because a funny
Go
thing
ahead.
happened on Twitter.com. So yesterday, I was just, at work browsing Twitter doing a half day because I've moved my weekday hours from Sundays to Thursdays, because our group meetings are on Mondays now. And so I was like, just on Twitter on a Friday. Nothing useful comes on from Twitter on a Friday. And, I'm browsing Twitter and I see Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, oh, what's he up to? And there's an article in like the Wisconsin's newspaper or something. I don't know what the exact newspaper is, but it's a real Wisconsin newspaper telling the story about how Aaron Rodgers saw the Hat Man while on his like drugs that he took during the off season.
The Hat Man?
The Hat Man. And now you might be asking yourself, what is the Hat Man?
Well,
No,
isn't that...
I'm not asking
Some
myself that.
creepypasta bullshit.
That's, no, it's, when you take too much Benadryl, that's what you see.
Exactly. The Hat Man is a sleep paralysis urban myth, like sleep paralysis demon urban myth that has been perpetuated since like the 1990s. And basically, like, there's again like the meme where it's like, oh hell nah, SpongeBob took 15 Benadryl, just the things like that. The Hat Man. And the Hat Man looks like a guy wearing a very wide-brimmed hat with no facial expressions or features whatsoever. And, how do I change? There we go. And a long flowing coat, whether that's a trench coat or a cloak or something of that nature. Why can I not go in this hole? Whatever. And so...
I need a cloak in it.
You're right. And so... The idea is that, you maybe see the Hat Man if you're, like, in a dreamscape or a sleep paralysis experience or whatever. And I was like, not to spoil anything about the next AI game, but that reminds me of, like, the main antagonist of that game. So I just, reach out to our favorite Twitter user, Kotaro Uchikoshi, the writer of the AI The Somnium Files games, and I just ask him, like, hey, Uchikoshi, I was reading this thread about the Hat Man and was curious to know if Terror's design, Terror, who wears a wide-brimmed hat, has a mask that obscures their facial features, and in general wears like a long cloak that sort of like flows when you walk or whatever. And I was curious, because it sounds like something Iris would talk about, because Iris loves conspiracy theories, as we will learn tonight.
Yeah! Oh, wait, what route are we doing tonight?
We're doing more of I'll show you. I'll open up the flowchart. And so the idea was that I was just, because sometimes Uchikoshi responds to people on Twitter, and, he's a pretty cool dude on Twitter, all things considered. There are a lot more hacky game devs on Twitter than Uchikoshi, to put it very, very mildly. Uchikoshi is a very cool guy on Twitter. And so I just reached out and I was like, yeah, whatever, if he responds, that's cool, whatever. I get a response to the tweet about 6 hours later, saying that, no, our team did not know about this phenomenon, but we do find the thread very interesting. But what we find more interesting is how someone in a nuclear engineering PhD came down and did voice acting. And I was like, what? You're talking about me? Like, you think I'm interesting? Like, I had my, what's his name? The guy who screamed at his 2005 campaign and, like, his entire political career went to shit.
Howard Dean?
Yeah, Howard Dean. I had my Howard Dean moment where I was like, and... and so... And, like, people started responding that and retweeting everything there, and I was like, cool, great, awesome. And so I just responded to his tweet being like, hey, yeah, I mean... I appreciate the response. It must be morphogenetic field theory at work. And then I said, as for my career choices, I just like following my passion in life. And voice acting is a very nice, different thing to do compared to nuclear physics. And he responded to that one. So Uchikoshi responded to my response and he responded with Mizuki thumbs up PNG and respectful.
I was like drunk at an Applebee's when this was occurring, and let me tell you,
So on
it was an
brand.
experience.
So on brand.
For real though.
So yeah, this is how we know Voltage is in his prime. It's just like, you know, you reach out to content creators about things you like of theirs, and you know, if they're a decent person, sometimes they just respond and say thanks. It's cool. I did that with another YouTube video guy who's, I think their name's like Loot or something, and they did like having fun on your computer too recently. And I just reached out and I was like, hey, I liked your video. Do you have the source for the guy who goes, what the heck? And it's Stu Reviews a California Pizza Kitchen frozen pizza. Highly recommend that video. Also recommend Stu Reviews an Onion. But you know, if you just appreciate someone's work and they're decently active on Twitter, the worst thing that can happen is they don't respond, right? So just reach out to them and say.
The worst thing that can happen is that they do respond very badly.
Oh yeah, that's true.
True.
Okay, well then you shouldn't idolize anyone in the first place.
Yeah. Just don't. Just don't.
They can slap you with a lawsuit of why aren't you speaking to me?
Just don't do what you did with Hideki. Just don't do it with
Kamiya?
Hideki Kamiya.
Oh yeah. So, but yeah,
I mean,
that
he's off Twitter now.
and
but,
makes sense.
Theoretically.
It had to do with the Helena Taylor drama.
Yeah, that's a fiasco. And again, I have my opinions on that, but I don't really want to share them on stream. I'd be happy to share them in a more controlled environment.
I don't want to go over it either.
Yeah.
We're not going.
I'm just doing that to explain.
Yeah.
Hideki Kamiya is an asshole, but he's not on Twitter anymore because of this other asshole.
Exactly. So, all that to say, I had a really cool interaction with one of my favorite game designer authors, etc., on Twitter the other day, and they were very cool to me, and, like, they found me interesting.
One time, Terry Crews tweeted at me.
Did he really?
Yeah, like back in like 2014. I didn't even add him or anything. I was just talking about how White Chicks is a great movie.
What is White Chicks?
And he was like, White Chicks.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I was like, Terry Crews or White Chicks is the best thing ever. And he goes, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I was like, I'm like in the middle of Target with my mom getting Starbucks. Like,
He was probably looking up his own name on Twitter.
Probably, yeah. I mean, like, this is back in like 2013, 2014. And I messaged him back and I was like, you're welcome, White Dark
No, Jillian!
And I gave a winky face.
Jillian!
And he replied back to that and goes, ha ha ha. So anyways.
Jillian!